Hi lovely people, welcome to Zop Lady, welcome to my channel once again, and today I have a special guest, and I'm sure you're also curious, you also want to know him, and we'll talk a little bit about him, and we have a pleasant surprise for you. So maybe after the short introduction we'll go straight to the kitchen. He's going to prepare something, some delicious food. I don't know which country food he's going to prepare, but I'm sure when we get to the kitchen he's going to let us in into his little secret. So before then, I think a little bit, like maybe a minute, for him to tell us who he is, how we met, and why is he in Argentina.
Well, okay, I'm Henry. We met because we studied the same thing, as most of you probably know, that Genevieve is doing global studies. And that's the reason I'm in Argentina.
Yeah. Yeah, and before then, what were you doing?
Before GSP.
Yeah.
Before GSP, I applied for GSP the year before, and I didn't get it.
Okay, oh.
And then I did an internship at a biotech company for half a year in China.
In China?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then I was working in a bar.
Yeah. Ooh. I see.
It was fun, but it's also good it's over.
Yeah.
It's like half a year maybe?
Half a year, okay.
More or less.
Okay.
And yeah, it was sort of like in between because I didn't know what I want to study my master.
Mm-hmm.
So I was taking some time to like work at a bar, and okay, that didn't actually help me so much, but it was fun. Just to, like take some time off and just like don't be in the pressure of university all the time, and then yeah, and then I did the internship because GSP in Berlin wants, it's a admission criteria, it's like it goes to your benefit when you're applying if you have work experience.
Okay,
So that's why I did that. And then,
yeah, so of all countries, why did you choose to go to China to do your internship in China?
Because I'm half Chinese.
Oh, half Chinese and half what?
German.
Wow, did you hear that? Half Chinese, half German, and I'm sure you're also curious to know how this blend works. So I'm sure that conversation will shelve it, so when we're in the kitchen, then we'll be probing further. Yeah, and for how long, what are your impressions about Argentina so far? What do you like about Argentina and what you don't like about Argentina?
Okay, what I don't like is the lack of vegetables in the food in general.
Okay.
But I do like the food in general.
Okay.
It's just sometimes I need to really make sure I eat enough vegetables because there's less than in my diet normally.
Okay.
What I like is very hard to say because it's like so many things.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a general feeling.
Wow.
That like, I think people here are very friendly and very, in German you say herzlich, like heartful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's people like to live life.
Yeah.
You know, they're like happy about, not like some places, some people where it seems like
we don't want to say that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone's experience is different,
but
also we're here during summer where everybody's usually happier. But yeah, it feels like people are very happy about life and easily excited, and you know, they appreciate the good things.
They appreciate it.
They don't feel entitled to it, but when they're there, they appreciate it, and it's just a feeling of a way of living that is nice. It took me some time to understand what this Argentina is, but I feel like now I understand a little bit.
A little bit, okay. So maybe another question that I want to pose before we go to the kitchen and then he tells us exactly what he's going to cook will be, we had the option to choose between South Africa and Argentina, and I would like to find out what drove you to select Argentina and not South Africa.
So I'm doing GSP in Berlin, where the South Africa Partner University is in Pretoria.
Okay, Pretoria.
And Freiburg is Cape Town.
Yeah.
And well, at the beginning, when I found out about GSP, I was thinking like, oh, Buenos Aires, I want to go to Buenos Aires. Because I had this very romantic idea of Buenos Aires in my head. Steak, red wine, tango, and going through the streets at night, and it's very romantic and whatever. And it's also true, but it's also not just that.
Okay, other things.
And then I actually applied for Freiburg too.
Oh, really?
And I also get accepted, and I was really considering to go to Freiburg because I was like, if I want to go to South Africa, then I really want to go to Cape Town.
Okay.
Because it's by the sea, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I didn't know a lot about Pretoria,
Yeah.
but I had some idea about Cape Town, and I was like, oh, that would be amazing too. So I struggled with that for a while, actually. But in the end, I prefer to start in Berlin and not in Freiburg.
Okay.
And then, since I wanted to go to Buenos Aires so bad, anyways,
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'll do Berlin,
Berlin, okay.
and I'll just have to go to South Africa some other time.
Yeah, well, so maybe when he starts his own project, or maybe if he's working in another company, or maybe holiday, he will go to South Africa. So South Africa, please don't be disappointed.
Maybe someday.
You will see Henry. Yeah. So before we get to the kitchen, as I had already indicated, we want to find out from you, what are we cooking today?
What are we cooking today? So we're cooking. Genevieve asked me to cook something German or Chinese.
Yeah.
And I think often people think about like, oh, what is one dish that represents a country? But I think another way to think about it is like, how do you improvise? How do you use leftovers? What are the flavors you use? So I brought some of the meat left over from when we had our asado.
The asado, yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna cook that with like bell peppers and onions and some like soy sauce and things. And then maybe like a cabbage dish with garlic on the side to have some more vegetables. But we'll see.
We'll see, yeah, we can wait. And that will take us approximately how many minutes to get it cooked?
30 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Wow, okay. Yeah, so because I actually prepared my belly, I'm starving. So I want to cut this conversation and go straight to the kitchen. And but what's the name of the food again?
Leftovers.
It doesn't have a name.
Well, okay, so the cabbage thing, but I don't know what cabbage you have.
Okay, I'll show you.
So we'll see, but in Chinese it's called 手撕包菜,
So
which means hand torn.
Okay.
Cai is like vegetable.
Yeah.
And bao means to like wrap.
Yeah.
So like the round cabbage, because it wraps itself, I think that's why it's called bao cai. And you like tear it into pieces with your hand. It's very simple.
Okay.
Very
then I'll show you the cabbage I have. But I think he just drew my attention to something when he spoke the Chinese. And I'm sure your mother and your daddy will be happy to watch this video. And I want you to say a little message for mom in Chinese.
Oh my god.
And then a little message a little message to dad in German. So look into the camera and you are telling mommy something in Chinese.
I don't think they're gonna watch this, if I'm honest.
Oh, you don't want to show it to them? I'm broken hearted.
Oh, okay, maybe that.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess, you know, ni hao. I don't have much to say right now. You're really putting me on the spot.
Just say, mommy, I love you in
Ni hao,
Chinese.
妈妈我爱你.
Mama, I'll find you.
妈妈我爱你.
Mama.
Mama is mother,
yeah.
like Mama Jenny.
Yeah.
And 我 is me.
我.
爱 is love. It's Chinese word for love, and 你 is you.
我
爱你.
我爱你.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in German.
In German, you know it.
I don't know, but I want Papa wants to hear
Papa,
from
ich
you.
liebe dich auch.
Ah, wow. So he's like, how do you say quadrilingual? Because he speaks Chinese, he speaks German, he speaks French. No, I don't know about French.
I had French at school, but that doesn't
okay.
count.
He speaks Spanish and speaks English.
Spanish doesn't count either.
But I heard you speak Spanish and you were...
Yeah, it's like...
Un poco.
Un poquito.
Un poquito.
You know, the thing is, like, you speak better when you pretend you speak it, but that doesn't mean you actually speak it. Like.
But you were speaking with this Argentinian guy at the asado and you were flowing for more than 10
But how much
minutes.
was he understanding? You don't know.
But the effort he was contributing.
Yeah.
So I think maybe you are in B1.
No, I just finished A2.
A2, okay. Yeah, but I think I wish I would also get to the A2 someday, but I'm still at the basics.
It's
yeah,
easy, you can do it.
I can do it. Yeah. Okay, good. So, mommy and daddy, thank you so much for giving us Henry. He's such a wonderful, pleasant person, and I'm from the Freiburg group. I think no wonder he actually applied. He should have come to Freiburg and would have met them. But in any case, we still made it.
We're here now, right?
Yeah, we are here now.
So it doesn't matter.
So our path still crossed.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you could have chosen to have gone to South Africa and I wouldn't have seen you. Yeah,
we
would have
have
missed.
none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be
Exactly.
that we see each
This
other.
is why we came.
Yeah, that's why we are here. Yeah. Okay, so let's go. Come along with us to see the leftover preparation. So we are in the kitchen right now, and then this are the ingredient. Can you take us through the ingredients?
Okay, I bought this for myself.
Yeah.
And so we have the cabbage.
Yeah.
This is the red cabbage.
The right. Oh, good.
And then we have some garlic.
Garlic.
I also brought some garlic,
Yeah.
onions,
Yeah.
a tomato. So for the cabbage, we need tomato, garlic. This. That's it.
That's
Salt,
it.
soy sauce, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Always depending on how you feel.
Yeah.
And then this is some leftover meat from the asado we had.
Asado. So what is asado?
So I think asado is just like, I'm not sure, I'm not Argentinian. But the way I have understood it now is like, the word for the grill itself is a parrilla. And an asado is like the event, the like getting together, the grilling, the having the barbecue, the sitting together and drinking and talking. And I think that's what asado means.
That's what asado.
Not entirely sure, don't.
Okay.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
I also don't do asado, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so this we will do with some garlic, maybe some ginger, onions.
So what? It's okay, right?
Bell peppers in strips.
How do you call this bell pepper? I thought it's paprika. What's the difference between paprika and bell pepper?
Well,
I don't know.
I think bell pepper is American English.
Okay.
In Australia they say capsicum.
Capsicum?
And I think paprika is maybe a more general term.
So, okay.
So think, because bell, this looks sort of has the form
From,
of a bell.
yeah, okay.
But like long peppers maybe are also, but I don't. Okay. I actually have no idea. And then we have some rice. We have some, these are Sichuan peppercorns.
Sichuan?
Peppercorns. They're not actually pepper, but smell.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it has like a bit like citrus.
Wow.
But it's very popular in like the west of China and some provinces. This with chilies, this gives you like a numb, tingling feeling, and then spicy, so spicy and numb, and like tingling. Yeah. You look scared.
Because it's like I haven't seen, and it's called Casa China.
No, that's the store.
That's the store. Okay.
It's Sichuan peppercorns.
Wow, Sichuan pepper. This smells nice, and I hope it's going to taste nice too.
Yeah. And then we will add a little bit of wine. Usually you use Chinese cooking wines, like a rice wine. Okay. But I have not seen that around.
So we improvise.
So I use this. Yeah. I use the Argentinian meat that we grilled in the Argentinian asado. Yeah. And we use the Argentinian wine. Ooh, yeah. Very good.
Yes, very good. So as you saw from the earlier on, we toasted for the success of us cooking
in general.
Okay, so tell me what I can do to help. Yeah.
Good question. We start by cooking some rice.
Start cooking rice. So you need a pot to cook rice.
A little pot with
a little pot.
With a lid.
Okay, so now he's going to teach us how to cook rice the Chinese way.
I was just telling you a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So what I do, I put the rice in here. Yeah. I think that's enough for two, right? Okay. You think? Maybe a little bit.
We can also take some. You can take some. I don't have to take everything.
No, you take.
So I wash it.
Yeah, I will do it.
You will do it. Okay. So Henry washing.
So I just do it in the pot. Some people maybe do it separate.
Yeah. So do you need a sieve? No.
I don't need it.
You don't need it. Oh, you are an expert. What do I?
I like to cook so that I don't have to wash so many dishes. You know. Save yourself the work. We have enough to do.
That's nice.
So I just do it a couple times and pour it out until the water is not so like white anymore, but it's like clear. Yeah. So usually like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times depending on how much starch the rice has. Yeah. I think we also do same, but I know some people don't wash it at all and they start cooking. I'm like, oh no, it needs to be washed. So one thing is like you remove some of the starch for the texture. Yeah. Another thing is like you don't know how clean it is. Why would you trust them? Exactly. Yeah. 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 So you just do this a couple times. Yeah.
So do the Germans also do it this way, or this is the Chinese way?
I don't know what the Germans do. Everybody does it differently. I think now that we have the internet,
Yeah.
a lot of people
Yeah.
can learn on the internet how to do
Exactly.
things. A lot of people do it maybe sort of like this way, but there are also people that like they cook it. They do it like pasta, you know.
Yeah.
They cook it and then strain it out.
Yeah.
You know, if it's good, it's good. There's no right or wrong
Yeah.
way to do it. It's about like what comes out.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay, so talking about being a German and Chinese, how is it like going in two cultures?
Well, you know, when people ask me this and then I say like where I come from or whatever, they're all like, oh, that must be so crazy. And what can I say? For me, that's normal. Like that's what I know as normal. So like crazy is relative.
Yeah.
You know. So okay, so you put in water, then it's like a bit over. Some people say until the first knuckle. Whatever feels right.
Yeah, whatever
I think
feels
this is
right.
okay.
Okay. Good. So we just use our instincts.
Do you have a lid?
A lid, yes, I do. And then you need a fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I have that or did I give it to you?
You gave it to me, but I have matches.
Perfect.
So, in the event that you cannot find a lighter, you have something to improvise with.
Yeah.
It is this one.
Ah. And
This is lower, and then when it's in the middle, it's higher.
okay, so we start high, and once it's boiling,
Yeah.
we turn to the lowest, and then put the lid on it.
Yeah.
Or leave the lid on. And then you do not take it off.
Yeah. Are you adding salt? Because the last time you
No
did say
salt.
that no salt. Okay.
Okay. And then I think maybe we can like take some off and
Yeah.
wash these.
Yeah.
And I will cut some.
So how many layers should I take off?
What feels right?
When it feels right.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me. So now pretending I don't know how to cook, and you are teaching me how to do
You
it.
know how to cook.
I
I
try.
trust you and your experience.
So in this modern age, I know a lot of young men don't know how to cook. So what has been your motivation to learn how to cook?
Well, I like to eat.
Everybody loves to eat.
I like good food.
Yeah.
So if you want to be able to eat good food and not have to
Yeah.
buy it all the time, I don't know. I've always just been interested in how to make it. It seemed like a fun thing to do, and also, it gives you get to decide what you're eating.
Yeah, you get to decide what you're eating. I like that.
And you get to decide how healthy you eat.
Yeah.
And if you're craving something,
Yeah.
you know how to
Don't
make
cut
it.
your fingers.
Yeah, no, I won't. One time, oh my god, I was studying for exams when I was still doing my undergrad, and then I had to cook something to eat because I was hungry and I was really stressed and had a lot to do.
Yeah.
And my knife was not so sharp, and I was like cutting, and then it slipped off, and I cut off like a little piece of my finger, and it was lying there.
Oh, sorry.
But it grew back. You see,
It grew back.
it's like a normal finger.
You want to put it here? Not yet.
What do you think? No, I think I will use a pan for this one.
Okay, so I should give you, so that you have space.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So at what age did you learn how to cook?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Maybe 14?
40. Wow, that's good.
I don't know if that's true. Something around more or less.
Somewhere, somehow.
A couple years.
Yeah. Somehow you learned it.
Whoops. And I also really enjoyed, or still enjoy, watching cooking videos on YouTube.
Okay.
So that's also where I learned a lot of things. Like, you see it and then you try to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And then
That's nice. Learning to do by yourself is the most important. Knowing what you're eating,
well,
it's really
and like doing it the way you like.
like,
you know?
yes.
So the onions are attacking me,
That's what a lot of guys don't like.
but we will win this battle.
You will win.
Okay.
You are the master.
So
Sorry.
let's see.
Yeah. What else do you? I've washed the cabbage.
Yeah. Then maybe you can peel off a couple layers as
Okay.
much as you think we will eat.
Okay. So just do the layers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we rip them into like little pieces.
Okay.
And then I'll do some garlic. Garlic, very important for a happy life.
For a healthy life.
For a happy life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at the asado, he taught me something that I didn't know, or maybe some other ladies did. You roast garlic.
Well, Ina taught you this one.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and it tasted so nice. I really liked it, and I'm also going to introduce that to my family.
This is why you learn to cook, because there are so many different ways of doing things, and new flavors, and
yeah. And I've also just learned how you peel your garlic.
Do you not do it like this?
No, I don't do it like that.
I give it a little smash.
Yeah.
And then the skin comes off easier.
Yeah.
And also the like texture and flavor is a bit different if you've smashed it a bit.
Whoa.
It becomes a bit stronger and a bit like stickier.
Wow. So you see, we are learning by the day.
I did cut off my finger once, so be careful when learning.
Wow. Hey, you are more of a chef. So tell me, you said you did your internship at the China, and you also work a little bit at the bar.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the motivation to work in bar, and how was the experience like?
Working at a bar?
Yeah.
Well, the motivation was it's a job that's flexible.
Yeah.
It's a job where you earn tips.
Yeah.
So for one thing, that's extra money.
Yeah.
And for another thing, I think that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think that's fine. Yeah.
That's fine?
I think that's enough.
Okay.
And then if you want, you can like just rip it into like I don't know, pieces like this.
Yeah.
A bit bigger, a bit smaller, doesn't matter.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also gives you a motivation to like actually do well, right? Because if you're doing a better job and you're making people happy, they will also give you more tips.
Yeah.
And also, I just like a job where
You need some carrot?
I'm good.
You're good.
Where you know you're there to give people a good time. You're there helping everybody to feel well, feel happy. I think maybe we can add a little bit more water.
A little bit more
Yeah.
water.
So this is the thing. You just go as you do as you go. Just a bit, tiny bit. Thank you. Just like that. You just go by what feels right. And if you do it, if it comes out wrong, then you develop your feeling for the next time.
Exactly. You know, that's how most African women cook, because when we are cooking, we don't have any measurements. We just cook as we feel.
My mom is the same. Sometimes I ask her for like how she does something because I want to make it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you just add some of this. I'm like, yeah, but how much do I add? She's like, like this much. This much. And you're like, well, like what does that mean? She's like, just do whatever feels right. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, do what you feel right.
I guess this is the most tips I am getting.
So this, not too big?
Maybe a bit smaller.
A bit smaller, like this. Our session today, so I'm learning something new. So from the Berlin group, he's the first person I posted on my channel, and I'm so excited.
From the Berlin people?
Yeah, from the Berlin group.
Ah, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there will be more.
Yeah, there will be more, hopefully. Our days are numbered.
We do have a lot of time, to do and not a lot of time, but...
Yeah. Okay. So I also want to find out from you as a mixed race child, what are some of the complexes you face as a mixed race child? Where do you feel belonged to?
Where do you feel belonged to?
Yeah.
Well, obviously I feel like I feel belonging in both of the places that I come from, and also I've lived in both, right? So
you live in both, okay.
A lot of people that, might have heritage, or like parents that come from somewhere else, but maybe went to visit, it's still something else than, I think this we can turn low now.
No.
So just all the way, right?
All the way.
Yeah. And then we just leave the lid on.
Okay.
And do not touch, or otherwise your mom is going to shout at you. So I've lived in both, and I have family in both, which is a different thing than if you maybe like lineage-wise come from a place but don't actually have never lived in the culture. And I think one challenge is that wherever you are, people always say you're from the other place.
Okay.
You know, you're always other.
You're always other. Okay.
So it makes you wonder, what am I?
What am I?
Or yeah, where am I really from? Because I grew up in China and they always said, oh, you're the German person, and I never questioned that. Like, okay, yeah, I guess I am. Yeah. And then you come to Germany and everybody's like, oh, you're the Chinese guy, and you're like, what? I thought I was the German guy.
Yeah.
And then I think it's a good thing though.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing because it teaches you not to make it dependent on other people how you see yourself. Because, I mean, of course it's normal, everybody does that. We are social beings, and we, you know, we also exist in the context of where we are and the people we are around. But at the same time, you do have some agency, and you know, what it is for you is something that you at least have a degree of say in, you know. So I think that took me a while. Then for every place, it's what does it mean to be from that place? For a country like Argentina, maybe it's about the independence of the country from colonialism, from neo-colonialism, from all the, you know, your condition here is so dependent on the global market and other countries that what does it mean to be from here? But at the same time, and also the cultures here have so many the culture has so many influences from
different
people from different places that came because of different reasons. Now I forget what I was trying to say.
And we're talking about where you belong.
Yeah, so like, you know, it means a different thing in every place. And I think Germany is sort of a special case that, at least for a while, we are now entering different times. There is not a sense, there was less of a sense of patriotism, of our flag, our nation. It's more about, at least the way I understood it, and I think that is the thing that I've also been very lucky with, that most of my friends have always been, you know, not those kinds of people. And these are values you learn at school, but also these are values that make sense, I think. Values of, you know, in the end, if we try to define something as universal, that if we can agree on something, it's that every human has the same dignity and the same rights, and should be treated the same way. And I think that was something that was very strong in Germany. Of course, there are always problems, but that was one thing that made sense for me to make sense of what it means to be German. Because in the end, if people say, "Oh, you're not German," but I am German, what is the one thing? I think the one thing that I decided, that the conclusion I came to, is that to be German is something that also shouldn't be different from being from another place. Is to be anti-fascist, to make sure that, to be on the side of these values and the side of the project of society or whatever, that we are living according to these values and we are not letting them erode. And if forces and people come that are working against that, that you also stay resistant to it and don't become complacent. And also, I guess it's about living in a way that, you know, you take the things that you don't take, but you integrate and you learn for yourself the things that make sense and the things that are good, the things that enrich and you know, become part of how you face the world and face people. And there are different things to learn from everywhere.
Okay, in your submission, you did mention that the police car scenery in Germany is changing, and I want to find out, what do you think is the causal agent of this tension we are seeing these days in Germany?
There are always, everything, especially things that are complicated, never has one reason. And I think that's a mistake many people make. They're like, oh, there's like this one thing and that's the thing that's at fault. It's also always a lot of things that come into play, because it's a complicated world. I think one reason, I believe, for the frustration of people, which then leads them to go away from what is the status quo.
Should I watch this?
Yeah. Is, for one thing, maybe, I think...
Are you going to peel it?
Yeah, I will just cut it.
I can be telling it for you. So
No,
I can,
that's fine.
Okay.
Is that for a lot of years now, maybe for the past generation, we had this promise in the West. Maybe in the South, in like the global South, the promise existed, but it was less believable. That, you know, a certain model of how society works, how economics should be structured and developed, will lead to more wealth, more prosperity. That you'll have more security, that in economic and also like physical security sense. And you know, you can get the big TV and the big car, and there's enough for everyone. And I think that is no longer true. And people feel more fear for their existence. And on the one hand, you have, you know, climate change that is gonna, well, we don't know how bad it will be. We don't know how, I mean, right now, countries are talking about trying to keep it at 1.5 degrees, but if you look at the science, that is just lies. It's, I mean, like, okay, it's not lies because it's like we're gonna try, but like what the actions will lead to, it's obvious that they're not trying very hard. Or not hard enough, let's say that way. So that is, in one way, sort of an existential fear, but I think for like the backlash towards the right in Germany, that is something that people don't actually care so much about, because a lot of the right-wing forces in Germany also deny that climate change is actually happening. I always say it's sort of like, or I always think it's sort of like, when your doctor tells you you have cancer, and you need to stop smoking and drinking, and then your reaction is like, oh, they're all lying. That's not true, because this makes me feel better. Like, if I stop smoking and drinking, then I will feel worse. But yeah, maybe in the short term, you need to like, you need to have a bit less, you need to live a bit differently, but that doesn't mean they're lying. And then somebody, maybe your crazy uncle or some friend tells you, oh no, that's not true, the doctors are all lying, whatever. You're like, well, how much, like, did he study this? How much does he actually know? It doesn't mean like, don't be critical, but you know, the science is very clear on it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I think there's been a narrative that like, oh, all these foreigners are coming to our country and they're taking our things and they're not working and they're just getting money for free, which, you know, if you work some jobs that are lower paying and where a lot of people who have not had the privilege of going to university and getting an education that maybe just came to this country are able to do, and if you work jobs where you come in contact with a lot of them, you realize these are the people that are working the hardest.
Yes, they are.
And these are the people that are working the most, and these are the people that are sacrificing the most, and they're, in a way, they're contributing so much more. So it's a total myth that, you know, you take examples of like some bad examples, and people apply that to everybody that fits into a category of what they can see with their eyes, but maybe they don't understand so well. Okay, I think this is enough.
The tomatoes is enough?
Yeah, I think if I need more.
So how come most of the population don't know the truth that you are saying, that these immigrants are the ones doing the hardest job? How come it's not widely known in Germany?
Because they don't see it.
Yeah. And why don't they see it?
Because many people are not in the same places.
Yeah.
Working with these people, and also I think it's an easy answer because, like I was saying, you had this promise of how the world is going to go, and it's not going that way. So why? That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So an easy answer is something that people can easily take, and it's just how the human brain works. It's like all the others, the ones that are different, they're just here to use us and take from us. That is an answer if you adopt that and believe that the way you see the world does not have to be broken down. The way your whole life you've learned how the world is and how the world operates and how you make sense of the world, which is, you know, a pretty crazy thing. Like, we are these beings on this rock floating through nothingness, and for some reason we talk, think, do all these things. And there's so much confusion in the world that...
Yeah, so much confusion in the world.
So for the other one, I'm gonna crush them and like mince it like this. That's an answer you can take while keeping your worldview, keeping how you have made sense of reality. And, you know, letting go of how you make sense of reality is a very hard thing. Because then, well, you're sort of lost and your whole world comes crumbling down. And it's not an easy process, especially if you have not been exposed to so many different ways of seeing the world. And everything around you is reinforcing that all the time, telling you that's how it is. I think it's just the way the brain works that, at least for some people, that is maybe the only possible way, because for a lot of people also life is not that easy. They don't have so much time and so much energy to be thinking about how does this make sense, how whatever. That is maybe something some people have more the privilege of doing, and also support from outside, and like the experience is what they've seen in life to actually learn about. This is actually a lot.
No, I love garlic.
We will.
Me can't take garlic. You know how to say garlic in the...
I think ajo.
Ajo, yeah, ajo. Me can't take ajo. Yeah. Okay, so like you said, it's because of lack of education that most people don't really know the fact. And I
don't
think
it's education.
It's education?
Because if you look at the elections in the US, a lot of educated men voted right-wing as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's also like a cultural narrative. Because you can be very, what is education? Like, how is education measured? You have a degree in this or that or something, but that doesn't mean you like understand everything, or you are more legitimate at understanding something that